I should have known from the dress fitting. It was a Thursday in March, chilly, overcast, and I'd taken the whole day off work just to be there for Emily. I remember standing in the corner of the boutique, holding a half-cold cappuccino while my daughter twirled in lace and pearls. The saleswoman smiled politely at me, but everything was directed toward Lena, my daughter's future mother-in-law. "Oh, you have such a good eye," the woman cooed at Lena. "This neckline really brings out her cheekbones." I was the one paying for the dress, $2,300, plus $190 for alterations. I signed the receipt, but the only thank you I got was a distracted nod while Emily kept giggling with Lena about honeymoon flights. I told myself I was being sensitive. Emily's my only child. Her father and I divorced when she was 7, and I've been both mom and dad since then. Every scraped knee, every forgotten lunch, every late-night crying fit over middle school mean girls, that was all me. I worked overtime to get her braces. I sold my mother's pearls to help her with her college deposit. I even refinanced the house to cover the tuition gap when her scholarship got reduced. So yes, maybe I wanted to be included. But what came next wasn't just exclusion. It was erasure. 3 months before the wedding, I got a PDF invoice from Bluebird Events, a wedding planner. I had no idea they'd even hired one. The note at the top just said, "Hi, these are the updated costs based on the April vision board. Per Emily's request, sending directly to you. Thank you so much for your generosity." I stared at the numbers. Venue, $6,400. Catering, $4,800. Custom cocktail bar, $2,100. Decor rentals, $1,750. Lighting package, $1,200. Photographer, $3,300. Total, $19,550. I remember just blinking. I hadn't agreed to any of this. No one had even asked me. And yet they'd ordered it all with the assumption I would foot the bill, like I was some invisible ATM they could swipe at will. I called Emily immediately. "Hey, sweetie, I just got an invoice from your planner," I said, keeping my voice light. "Can we go over it together? I didn't know you were doing a cocktail bar." Silence. Then a sigh. "Mom, please don't make this stressful." That was her response. I swallowed hard. "I'm not trying to. I thought we agreed on a simpler event. You said $10,000 max. We had to pivot, okay?" She snapped. "Lena's family has expectations. They're used to a certain standard." That word, standard, stung more than I'd like to admit. I felt like some cheap vinyl chair in a room full of Italian leather sofas. Still, I paid it. All of it. I liquidated a bond that had been quietly growing for over 12 years. It was supposed to be for my retirement, but I told myself this was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, a mother's duty, something she'd remember and thank me for someday. That thank you never came, but something else did. 2 weeks before the wedding, I sent Emily a text. "Hey, honey, just checking in. What time should I arrive for rehearsal dinner? Want me to help with anything that day? Iron tablecloths, pack gift bags, etc." No reply. I waited 2 days, sent another. "Still need RSVP info for me. I assume I'm seated with your dad and his wife, or did you want me at a separate table? No worries either way, just need to know for dress color." Again, nothing. Finally, I called. She answered on the second ring, but her voice was cold. "Hey, what's up?" I laughed nervously. "What's up? I've been texting for days, Em. I just want to know what time to show up. Should I come to the venue first or the hotel?" A long pause. Then she said it. "Mom, about that." I sat down. Actually sat. Something about her tone made my legs go soft. She took a breath. "Lena and I talked, and we decided to keep the ceremony really intimate. Just people who really get us. People we connect with." I didn't understand. "What are you saying?" "We're not doing the traditional guest list. It's more modern. Close friends, like chosen family." I felt my face flush. "Emily, are you telling me I'm not invited to your wedding?" Her voice went defensive. "Don't make this about you. This is about our vision. It's not personal." Not personal. I had just spent over $25,000 on a wedding I wasn't even allowed to attend, not even as a silent guest in the back row. not even as someone who raised her. I hung up the phone without saying goodbye. That night, I sat in the kitchen with a pen and paper and made a list. Not of revenge. Not yet. Just facts. Dress, $2,300. Venue expenses, $19,550. Makeup trial I paid for, $130. Bachelorette spa day, $720. Bridesmaid robes I ordered from Etsy, $278. Hairstylist deposit, $250. Bride slippers and robe gift set, $89. Total, $23,317 and counting. I circled the number. Then I wrote underneath, she wouldn't even let me watch her say I do. The next morning, I logged into my banking app and saw a pending charge for $1,600, the final catering payment. I canceled it. 2 hours later, my phone rang. It wasn't Emily. It was Lena. Hi. This is Lena, Emily's fiancé. I said nothing. She cleared her throat. The caterer said the payment bounced. We were just wondering if you could resend it. Like ASAP, they won't confirm otherwise. I looked out the window. The neighbor's dog was digging a hole again. A part of me envied him. Digging, hiding, reclaiming what's his. I smiled. Oh, I said softly. I thought I wasn't invited. Dead silence. Is Emily there? I asked. No? Huh. Then tell her the ATM is closed. I ended the call. That was the moment everything shifted. After I hung up on Lena, I sat in that same kitchen chair for nearly an hour. My hands were shaking, not from sadness, not even from rage. It was something colder. A numb, precise clarity. Like when you wake up from a long, foolish dream and finally see the truth for what it is. I wasn't a mother anymore. I was a wallet that had served its purpose. The first thing I did was pull out the Bluebird Events invoice again. I opened every tab, every contract, every receipt. I had them all. Because of course I did. I'd been asked to sign here and just Venmo when you get the chance for every one of them. They thought I wouldn't question it, that I'd keep paying blindly like some pathetic donor. But I wasn't pathetic. I was patient. And I knew exactly how much power comes from being the one who signs the checks. First stop, the venue. Their invoice said non-refundable, but I knew better. I called and asked to speak to the coordinator, not the assistant who'd emailed me. I put on my sweetest, most polite voice. Hi, this is Marion. I'm the original payer for the April 14th booking under Emily R. I won't be attending anymore, but I have some concerns about liability and insurance. Would you mind walking me through who's actually listed on the agreement? Pause. Oh, sure, the woman said brightly. Let me pull that up. Yep. Contracts under your name. Emily's listed as the bride, but payment and authorization are all yours. Did you want to update anything? I smiled into the phone. Yes, I'd like to cancel. Silence. Ma'am, that will forfeit the deposit. I'm aware, I said calmly. Just process the cancellation. Thank you. Then I called the photographer. She was a sweet young woman named Callie. I remembered her Insta gram feed, soft lighting, candid kisses, overpriced edits. Hi, Callie, I said. This is Marion, Emily's mother. I paid your retainer last month. Oh, yes. So excited for their big day. I'm actually calling to let you know I'll need to cancel the booking. Oh, okay. Was there a problem? No, I said. Just a change of plans. You'll find the invoice came from my account. So I assume I'm authorized to cancel? A pause. Then a polite, yes, of course. Refund. $100 of the $300 total. Better than nothing. I kept going. The makeup artist. Cancelled. Lighting package. Gone. Cocktail bar vendor. Pulled out after I flagged the deposit as fraudulent. Decor rentals. Charged back through my bank. I listed the order as unauthorized. They didn't even fight it. By the end of the week, I'd clawed back over $9,000, but the real joy came in watching the chaos unfold from a safe, silent distance. Emily didn't call, but Lena did. Again. 3 missed calls. A text. Can we please talk? The venue just said the wedding is off. Emily is freaking out. What is happening? I didn't respond. Instead, I emailed the wedding planner. Subject. Event cancellation. Body. Hi, this is Marion R. Payer of Record for the April 14th event. Due to recent developments, I'm formally withdrawing all financial support. Any unpaid balances should be directed to the couple. Please remove my name and information from all records. Best, Marion. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. Emily, I answered. Mom, what the hell are you doing? Her voice wasn't angry. It was scared. It had a shake to it. That little tremble I'd heard back when she was 10 and lost her ballet shoes the night before the recital. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. I'm doing what any investor does when they realize the project no longer includes them, I said. I'm pulling out. You can't, she yelled. Everything is already planned. People are expecting— I cut her off. Expecting me not to be there? Oh, wait, that's already covered. Silence. Emily, I said, calmer now. You made your choice. You chose to cut me out. So now you get to pay for that choice. Literally. She tried a different tone then. A whining, manipulative lilt I hadn't heard since high school. Mom, please, don't do this. We can fix it. You can still come. I laughed. Oh, so now I'm invited? I didn't mean for it to go like this, she whispered. And I believe her. I believe she genuinely thought I'd roll over. That I'd be too ashamed, too maternal, too desperate for her approval to ever push back. She forgot that the quietest people carry the sharpest knives. The next part wasn't revenge, it was restoration. I went through my storage unit and found my old ceramic pieces, back from before I gave up pottery to take a second job. I reopened my Etsy shop. I started saying yes to dinner invitations I'd always declined. I rejoined my book club. And I used the refunded money to take myself on my first vacation in 17 years, a solo trip to Florence. 4 nights, boutique hotel, balcony view, gelato every morning. I didn't post a single photo. But I did send Emily a postcard. It read, "Thank you for setting me free, Mom." 2 weeks later, a Facebook album popped up. Emily Lena's elopement, City Hall. No flowers, no guests, no dress, just a tight, awkward selfie in front of a municipal building and a caption that said, "Not the day we planned, but the love was real." I didn't like it. I didn't comment. I just clicked hide post and took another bite of my tiramisu. But you know what the funniest part is? 3 months after their courthouse wedding, I got a letter in the mail from Lena. It was a handwritten thank you card. Dear Marion, I know things didn't go the way we wanted, but I hope someday we can rebuild. I admire your strength, and we may need some help with our honeymoon fund. Emily didn't want me to ask, but I thought I'd try. There was a PayPal link at the bottom. I tore the card in half, poured myself a glass of wine, and whispered, "Not a chance." I didn't hear from Emily for 96 days. Not a call, not a text, not even a forwarded meme like she used to send when she still considered me her mother. And that was fine. Better than fine. It gave me room to breathe again. I planted tomatoes. I bought new sheets. I even redecorated the living room, replaced the couch she once stained with cranberry juice at age 13, the same one I'd cleaned for 2 hours while she watched TV and said, "It's just a couch, Mom." It wasn't just a couch. It was me. Always cleaning up her messes while she shrugged. I had just come back from an early walk in mid-July, birds chirping, sweat on my neck, when I found her on my front porch. Emily, sitting on the top step like a little girl again, knees pulled up, biting her thumbnail the way she used to before piano recitals. I almost didn't recognize her. Her hair was darker now, makeup smudged under her eyes. She looked tired. "Mom," she said, standing up quickly, like she'd rehearsed it. "Hi." I didn't move, just narrowed my eyes. "You look awful," I said. She blinked, then laughed, but it cracked halfway out of her throat. "Yeah, well, life's been a lot." I walked past her, unlocked the door, and held it open. "If this is about money, save it." But she followed me inside. She stood awkwardly in the kitchen while I rinsed strawberries. The silence was heavy, not just awkward, but thick, like it was made of all the things she should have said months ago. She finally spoke. "Lena left me." I didn't look at her. "And?" She said I'm selfish, that I only think about appearances, that I used people. I let the water run a little longer than I needed to. Hard to argue with her, I said, calmly placing the strawberries in a bowl. She sat down, hands folded tight. I came to apologize. I raised my eyebrows. Not because I want anything, she added quickly. I see it now. Everything you did. I was awful to you. I know that. I stared at her. There it was. The thing I thought I'd wanted to hear for years, but when it finally came, it felt hollow. Not because it wasn't real, but because it was too late. She stayed for an hour, talked about the disaster of their marriage, how Lena's parents had cut them off after the wedding imploded, how they'd fought about money, about kids, about how Emily doesn't know how to love people back. Her words, not mine. I nodded politely, listened like a therapist, like a stranger. When she left, she hugged me. I didn't hug back. Can we try again? She asked at the door. I said nothing. She left with tears in her eyes, but I wasn't moved, because while she was apologizing, something inside me had clicked into place, something sharper than forgiveness. The next week, I went to a notary. I updated my will. I'd had Emily listed as my sole beneficiary since she was 9 years old, after my divorce, after my mother passed, after I got the life insurance policy. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough. The house, fully paid off. A savings account with $62,000, my jewelry, some real gold, some heirlooms, a small art collection. Even the pottery studio I'd started renting again on weekends. I changed it all. Every asset was now going to a local women's shelter I'd volunteered with for years, but never told Emily about. The director, a kind woman named Rosalie, cried when I told her. You have no idea how much this will mean, she whispered. Actually, I did. Because it would mean everything to someone who'd never had a mother, and nothing to the daughter who thought hers could be bought, ignored, then summoned again like an old coat pulled out for the rain. A month later, Emily came by again. She brought flowers, lilies, my least favorite. She should have known that. Hey, she said, trying to smile. I've been doing therapy. My counselor said I should write a letter to you. I have it, if you want to read it. I took the envelope, didn't open it. Instead, I asked her something simple. Do you remember the Christmas I bought you the plane ticket to Paris? She paused. Yeah, when I was 19. I was such a brat about it. No, I said. Before that, when I was saving up for it. She blinked. No? I packed lunches for 8 months, I said. Skipped every work lunch, didn't go out with friends. I sold 3 rings, all so I could buy you that ticket. She swallowed hard. And you remember what you said when you opened the envelope? Silence. You said, ugh, economy? I can't even sleep on that flight. Her eyes filled with tears. Mom. No, I said, firm. You don't get to apologize for every moment now. You don't get a do-over just because your life went sideways. She nodded, biting her lip. I get that. I do. I miss you. That part hit me, because I missed her too. The version of her that used to exist. The little girl with tangled hair and a stubborn smile who once wrote me a note that said, I love you more than French fries. But that version had died somewhere around her 2nd year of college, when Lena's family came into the picture, with their sleek cars and passive-aggressive wine nights and $600 candle holders. And now? Now she only missed me because I was the only one left. I handed her the envelope back. I'm not ready to read this, I said. And I'm not ready to be your mother again. She left quietly. No tears, no argument. That night, I made a pot of tea, sat on the porch, and listened to the wind. I thought about all the women I'd seen at the shelter, women who had been thrown away, traded food or convenience, forgotten by their children, their husbands, the world. And I realized I wasn't one of them, because I hadn't been thrown away. I had let go. And now I had room to rebuild myself without waiting for someone else to value me first. 3 months passed. Summer faded. The air changed. I bought a new coat, and I didn't hear from Emily. Not for my birthday in August. Not for the anniversary of my mother's death, a date she used to remember with a soft call and a thinking of Grandma today. Nothing. It should have made me angry again, but it didn't. I was past that. Grief had burned off, and what remained was a kind of freedom, like realizing you'd been carrying someone else's luggage for years, and suddenly your arms were light. Then, on a Tuesday in mid-October, I got a letter, a real one, handwritten, not typed, addressed to me with slanted, messy penmanship I hadn't seen since Emily's high school essays, back before Lena came in with her curated playlists and silk napkins and endless rules about how a lady should behave. I stood at the counter, just holding it. Something told me this would be the last time she'd reach out. I opened it. Dear Mom, I don't know what else to say, except I'm sorry. For everything. Not just the wedding. For the way I treated you for years. The way I let other people's opinions replace my own. The way I acted like your love was something I could toss aside until I needed it again. I didn't know how deep your sacrifices went. I didn't understand what it meant to raise a child alone. I thought money just appeared. That comfort was my right, that you'd always be there to catch me. You didn't deserve what I did. You didn't deserve to be erased. Lena's gone. Her parents won't speak to me. Most of my friends disappeared when the wedding fell apart, and now I see it. I burned every bridge that mattered. But this letter isn't about guilt. It's about closure. Whether you forgive me or not, I want you to know. I see you now. I see what you were, what you are, and I'm sorry I took so long to say it. Love, Emily. I read it twice, then a third time. Then I folded it and put it in the drawer where I kept unpaid bills and old warranties, things you might need someday, but not right now. 2 weeks later, Rosalie from the shelter called me. Hey, Marion, I hope I'm not interrupting. We got your final paperwork. Everything's set. She meant the will transfer. I just wanted to ask, she continued, do you want us to list your name on the donor wall or keep it anonymous? I paused. It would have been easy to say anonymous, to stay invisible, the way Emily had treated me for years, to disappear from her story as cleanly as she'd tried to cut me out of her own wedding, but I didn't want invisibility anymore. I wanted truth. Put my name on it, I said. Not just Marion R. Use my full name. I want it in bold. Rosalie laughed softly. Will do. I thought that would be the end. But life has a way of offering one last page, even when you think the book is closed. It was mid-November when I saw her again. Not in person, but online. A friend from church sent me a link. Is this your daughter? It was a GoFundMe. Help Emily get back on her feet. Divorced, unemployed, starting over. She was asking for $10,000, said she needed to recover from the fallout of a toxic relationship, to rebuild after emotional devastation. She wrote, I was isolated, cut off from family, left financially stranded. Cut off from family. The irony nearly made me choke on my coffee, but what hit me wasn't anger this time. It was amusement, because for the first time, she was being seen, truly seen, not through the filter of curated social media perfection, or a Pinterest wedding, or Lena's family dinner poem, Artie's, but as someone who'd made mistakes, someone who was finally, painfully, learning. That night, I sat down at my computer, clicked the GoFundMe link again. I hovered over the donate button. Then I clicked it. But I didn't send $10,000. I sent $47, just enough to make her stop and think, because $47 is what I had left in my checking account the night I bought her first pair of ballet shoes when she was 8. She had begged for them. Pink, with little ribbons. They cost $42. I paid with a debit card and overdrafted the account. It took 2 weeks of packing my lunch to balance it back. I never told her. Until now. In the donation message box, I wrote, $47, the cost of your first ballet shoes. The last time I gave without expecting anything back. Good luck, Emily. Then I clicked send. The next morning, I had a voicemail. Her voice was shaking. Mom, I got your message. I don't even know what to say. I cried for 20 minutes. You remembered those shoes? I'm so sorry. I didn't call back. Not because I was cruel, but because she finally understood. And that was worth more than any reunion could offer. Later that week, I dropped off a box of scarves and handmade ceramics at the shelter. Rosalie hugged me at the door. You always bring the best stuff, she smiled. They'll be gone in minutes, I smiled back. Then, on a whim, I pulled out a small card and wrote on it, "From Marion, a mother who finally chose herself." I tucked it into the box and walked away. Not bitter, not broken, but whole. For the first time in years. The last time I saw Emily, the leaves were already dead. Not turning. Dead. Brown, crumbling, clinging to the gutters like regrets we forget to clean out. It was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I had just finished steeping my tea and was reaching for the honey when I heard the knock. Not the doorbell. Not the impatient triple knock she used to do when she forgot her keys as a teenager. Just 3 quiet taps. I opened the door. She looked thinner, paler. Her hair pulled back in a messy bun, no makeup, her old college hoodie hanging off her shoulders. It was mine once. She'd stolen it years ago. "Hi," she said, holding something in her hands. I didn't speak. She handed me a manila envelope. "Don't worry. No more letters. This isn't about me." I took it slowly. "What is it?" She gave a half smile. The kind people give when they know they're not owed forgiveness, but still hope for a scrap of warmth. "Just read it later, please." Then she walked away. Didn't linger, didn't cry. She got into a rusted Toyota I didn't recognize and drove off without a backward glance. I waited an hour, maybe more. Then I opened the envelope. Inside were 2 things. A receipt for a $5,000 donation to Rosalie's shelter. A drawing. A pencil sketch. Clearly hand-drawn. I stared at it for a long time. It was a picture of me. Not glamorous. Not young. Just me, as I am now. In my kitchen, holding a mug of tea, smiling slightly. The way I probably looked without knowing on a quiet Sunday morning. There was warmth in the lines. Realness. No filters. No edits. At the bottom, she'd written, "For the woman who gave everything, even when I didn't deserve it. Emily." I sat down and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding for years. The next morning, I brought the drawing to a framer, paid the extra for museum glass, hung it in the hallway across from the mirror, so when I walked by, I'd see both reflections, how the world sees me and how my daughter finally did. And the receipt? I called Rosalie to confirm. "Yep," she laughed. "Came through last night, said it was from someone who finally understood the value of mothers." I didn't explain, just smiled. Use it for someone who's still learning to stand. I didn't call Emily. Didn't send a thank you, because this wasn't about rekindle. Something broken. It was about respect, boundaries, closure. She had offered something real, something final. And I had received it with dignity, not desperation. And that's when I knew. The revenge wasn't the canceling. It wasn't the withheld payments. It wasn't even the $47 reminder. It was healing. Because the most poetic justice is not ruining someone back. It's rising without them. The holidays came. I made my own dinner. Rosemary chicken, roasted squash, and a little cranberry sauce just for tradition. I poured a glass of red wine, lit a candle, and set 2 places at the table. Not because I expected anyone, but because I was finally enough. At some point during the meal, I looked up at the drawing on the wall. The version of me Emily had finally learned to see, and I whispered, "It took you long enough." But I smiled, because she got there, and so did I.